Hello, I'm Julian Clover. Welcome to Studio IBC from Broadband TV News, and gathered with me here are some of the industry's finest to chat over some of the issues raised in the IBC conference. They are David Mercer of Strategy Analytics, Simon Spanswick of the Association for International Broadcasting, and also Matt Södin from TV News in Sweden. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Let's start then with 3D, which is clearly the topic of discussion. I'm sure that the exhibition halls will be flooded with the thing. David, where are we with 3D at the moment? We seem to be almost putting the cart before the horse with more receivers deployed but no displays, the complete opposite of what it was for HD.
Yes, I think where we are is waiting for content. Everybody's got very excited obviously over the last couple of years with the the relaunch, I think, of 3D, because we can go back many decades as various attempts to establish 3D. Clearly, in the last couple of years, the movie theatre market has taken off, and everybody's well aware of the blockbusters that have been successful. And our recent research shows that a high proportion of people of the total population have seen at least one 3D movie. So the awareness is certainly there now, and again we've been testing the market. There's a lot of interest in what's coming available into the consumer market. The TVs, as you say, are beginning to arrive. Sales are still obviously in the very early days, but again there's interest with certain consumers. But I think there is a concern both with viewers, if you like, television viewers, as well as the production industry, as to where the content is now.
Because that's one of the issues as well. We've got different formats at the moment. Those people are putting services on the air using so-called side-by-side format so they can use their existing boxes. But you've got people like the EBU, and I guess Simon, your members as well, are looking towards the idea of the service-compatible type of thing, where you can broadcast the additional 3D information to make up the picture. And these are some big decisions ahead for broadcasters as to whether they want to go with 3D or not.
Absolutely, and I think the issue here is that broadcasters have been burnt before with various technologies that have come along, and there is a reluctance at the moment, I think, certainly from the public service broadcasters, to really perhaps think of 3D as something in the very near term. Because of these issues, we've got so many different types of display out there. Some people need glasses, some we're looking at the displays where you don't need glasses. And this is a big issue, because if you're going to invest in production facilities for programmes, are you going to do that before there is an installed base out there? You've got this classic chicken and egg situation again.
But are the broadcasters prepared to invest? Because a lot of them, I'm thinking of smaller broadcasters, some of them up in Scandinavia, and that's part of the world, where they're only just getting ready for HD.
Yeah.
And these are public broadcasters, and there's pressure on their licence fees or whatever revenue source they have. They're losing the income from commercials in a lot of cases. And how are they going to fund all of this?
It's a very big question, because there is so much going on in the television space, not only in 3D, not only in HD, but also in connected TV and social TV. So the question for broadcasters is, which one do I tackle first? What's my highest priority that's going to guarantee that I maintain and increase my market share and deliver value if I'm a publicly funded broadcaster to the licence fee? Because, as you say, the pressure is certainly on at the moment for broadcasters, the publicly funded broadcasters, to have fairly savage cuts potentially fairly soon.
We'll come back to that issue of public broadcasting in a while, but Mads, the Nordic consumer, they're hardly battering down the doors to get HD subscriptions at the moment. Are they going to want to pay extra to get 3D as well? How are the broadcasters going to deal with that one?
My opinion of that is the first ones to get 3D in Sweden is Canal Digital, which is a satellite broadcaster, because they don't have the technology to get any further with anything else. So I think the 3D will be their way to keep their customers or to attract new customers. And also Telia, which is an IPTV operator, they want to steal market shares from other technologies, so they also need to go through with 3D. But
David, is this the way for the operators basically to keep their ARPUs up, to make sure they're getting their revenues coming in against erosion of subscribers in a lot of cases?
I think apart from content, the big unanswered question in 3D is clearly the business model. And what we've seen so far, we are at the very early stages here in terms of broadcasting. Even with Sky, I would argue, Sky will probably be the first major, one could call it a full-time 3D service. If you look at what's been going on in the US and other, spot examples in Europe, they really are just testing the water at the moment. Nobody has asked any customer to spend more money so far on a 3D service. I think with one exception, that's the AT&T IPTV service in the US. But I think there's a real question mark as to what value consumers will put on this. Again, coming back to a survey that we've run, if you ask people in a survey, will they spend more money? There's a reasonable number that will. I mean, you can find sort of 30, 40, 50% perhaps. But I think we need to be very careful not to read too much into that, because it depends very much on what content's available.
I was going to say,
people are assuming they're going to have full 3D, full 24-hour services available if they're going to spend that sort of money.
Just as long as they're not the same people who thought that mobile TV was a good idea.
But it's quite interesting talking about surveys. I've done a very ad hoc survey involving my 15-year-old son and a couple of his friends, and we went in the new Best Buy Superstore in Thurrock, where they have a dedicated 3D display area. And he looked at this along with his friends, trying on the glasses and things. It took quite a long time. We were in there about 40 minutes, and he came to the conclusion that the only thing really worth watching that was enjoyable to watch for any length of time in 3D was cartoons. He didn't like the football, his friends didn't like the football because they said it was just weird. They're not used to it yet, and I wonder whether this is actually going to be a big problem for consumers, for mainstream consumers.
Different types of shows. Interesting one to follow in years to come.